Senator Menendez, for the purpose.
Thank you, Mr. President. To ask a few questions of the author.
Do you yield?
Yes, I'll yield, of course.
Thank you, Senator. Senator, these are not repeat questions. These are for legislative intent. We talked about it before, and I want to appreciate your understanding on these. And so my question is, since your First Amendment yesterday added a portion there about House Bill 89, which, as we know, and I'll ask you your understanding, my understanding is that the court opinion, it prohibits boycotting the state of Israel as a condition of public employment. Is that not correct?
Senator, I would say not public employment, but for a company to do business with the state. And I went back and looked at the bill to make sure. And so the bill says, from House Bill 89 that was passed by a wide margin, it says, the comptroller shall prepare and maintain and provide to each state government entity a list of all companies that boycott Israel. And it goes on. And so the companies on that list who have made known that they're boycotting Israel, they would then be prevented from contracting with the state. So not a matter of employment, but companies wanting to issue contracts. So yes, with that proviso, the answer is yes.
So let's just say that boycotting is an action. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir. I would say it's an action.
So if House Bill 89 deals with actions, how does it square with your bill's supposed limitations on adverse government's actions based on affiliation or membership?
Well, Senator, part of the reason that the amendment was added was to make sure there was no confusion about these two bills. Of course, House Bill 89 is about taking the act of boycotting Israel. And I think it goes without saying that boycotting Israel is not just boycotting a country. We spent a lot of time yesterday talking about discrimination.
Correct.
We talked about the history of racial discrimination. Senator, let me finish. Let me answer your question.
Go right ahead.
We talked about racial discrimination. Throughout history, is there a more invidious, a more persistent, and has there been a more harmful racial discrimination than anti-Semitism? Has there?
Probably not, but actually there's a few that could compete, maybe one other than I can think of. But I agree with you, it is one of the top. But
in terms of its cost of lives,
oh no, absolutely, I understand.
I'm talking about the cost it has wrought on humanity.
You and I, we had the good fortune of working together on a bill that wants us to remember the pain and the suffering that occurred because
That's right.
of that. But let me continue the last couple of questions. So, doesn't the inclusion of your BDS exemption prove that the bill is indeed about protecting actions based on a subjective religious test? In this case, the subjective test is boycotting Israel. Is that correct?
Senator, the inclusion of that amendment was to make sure that no one had any question about the intent of the bill. And the intent of the bill is about affiliation or making donations to religious organizations. If you do that, the government can't punish you, retaliate against you, treat you differently for that. Since the legislature just last session passed House Bill 89 out of both houses by wide margins, that amendment was put in place to make sure there was no confusion about what the bills address.
So I guess the final question, if the problem is about actions and you say the bill's not about allowing discriminatory actions, why do we need this added language to protect BDS? Why is that needed in the bill?
Senator, some members wanted to make sure that we hadn't created any confusion. This discussion took place over in the House. And of course, in the House and Senate, a lot of support for that statute last session about boycotting and divesting against Israel. And so the amendment was added in an abundance of caution to make sure no one got confused about what it means.
Understand that. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator.